Frostpunk is a game that doesn't let you use child labor, it advocates for it. In a world fully occupied by Russian ally, the winter, fight hunger, sickness, and the urge to form a police state. They say Frostpunk is a city-building survival game, but it is assuming there will be any survivors. Build a city, watch it prosper, and then see it all fall because you forgot to legalize meth. In this game, you're asked how many people you are willing to sacrifice, and the answer is yes. Embark on a journey to save humanity, get distracted, and become the Pope. Das Video müsst jetzt starten. You start the game by taking a Rorschach test. It says the names of the characters. This is very considerate, as it makes labeling the coffins much easier. A new home is the only scenario you should consider if you prefer having any amount of fun. I'd include jokes from the community, but I don't speak this ancient tongue of runes and symbols. I don't know what these people are saying. What are the implications of this to the fishing community? In this alternative universe, the world has frozen over. People are desperate, and London is still a third world war zone. Your job is to lead this collection of femboys and boy wives. Your first ever action in this game isn't to consider child labor, it is to sign it into law. These little guys look up to you, the biggest of good boys, to lead them into a slightly less painful extinction. Say hello to the generator, a realistic depiction of a gaming laptop trying to run solitaire. You can set the generator on overdrive mode, slightly edging it while ensuring it doesn't bust all over your colony. You must feed it coal. Fail to do so and your harem will be missing essential things such as a heartbeat. You may also look at the Book of Laws, a system in which you can give your civilians their survival basics, such as a state-funded girlfriend. Do you need more food? Put sawdust in the bread. Do you need a place to put the dead? Cemeteries. Do you need more workers? Put those children into the mines, right where they belong. If you wish, you can also create fight pits, where the Turkish among us can relive their glory days, winning glorious fights against their wives and children one last time. Child labor is as vital to our economy as meth is to me making these videos. You legalize child labor and people complain. You ban it and people seethe over the idea of children not dying in the snow. You cannot win. Legalizing alcohol consumption not only has no negative effects, it is actively one of the best laws you can pass. This very clearly reflects the fact that this game was made by the Polish. When things get desperate, you can even sign a law allowing cannibalism. Sorry, but in these harsh times, Little Stanislav may need to become Little Kazanka. 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 Kasanka? Kasanka. Kazanka. Kashanka. Burial sites for the dead, mid-tier trash law, killing half of every medical patient for no reason, top-tier law that will single-handedly save your colony. You also have a technology tree, divided into things that will save humanity and ADHD fodder. I know this will be hard, but ignore half of these, no matter how jingly the keys look. I have never researched farming. I refuse to fall for the irrigation prank society fell for 10,000 years ago. Stay woke and hunt. After you research the beacon, you may begin to explore the world. If you enjoy interesting and captivating exploration, this game isn't for you. Each encounter boils down to finding supplies, free labor, or a funny robot dog. This robot dog, whom I call Calloway, Anthony, Timothy, or just simply Cat, will hump any building, generating so much discomfort that the building begins to generate resources automatically. If you ever need a new car engine, putting down your dog is a very good way to achieve that. While Calloway, Anthony, Timothy is dead, he will forever haunt our soy plantation. Immigration is also a very well-made and balanced mechanic, in which you can either escort people to your city, let them traverse a literal wasteland on their own, or simply let them die for no gain whatsoever. If you like to instantly lose the game, go west and trigger the winter home event early. For some reason, the genius behind this game thought that it would be really funny if you could trigger the endgame far before you have researched the counter to literally anything. But after some time of avoiding the inevitable, you find a man from a neighboring city. This causes everyone in the city to form a suicide cult. I don't blame them. I would also try to end myself if I found out that even after the apocalypse, British people still existed. To prevent everyone from trying to walk into their deaths, you can convince them to stay with the Bible or flashing lights respectively. These, naturally, evolve into a cult where we steam people for their sins, and a dictatorship where we also steam people, but at least we have 3 pages worth of legal documentation explaining why. People will complain about your tyrannical nature. This is fine, as those people tend to be the ones that mysteriously disappear the next day. Did they die of natural causes, or was it my fault I put the prison in minus 100-degree temperature? I guess we'll never know. After you establish the totalitarian government of your choice, you implant all people with a brain fungus that turns mental illness into blind obedience. This game was meant to talk about how bad authoritarianism is. Instead, all my people are happy and resources are bountiful. What did they mean by this? You may find refugees on the map looking for refuge. I have refuge. huge. I don't care what they are running from because free labor is free labor. After a while you realize that all these refugees aren't coming from the latest American side hustle and are actually running from a giant storm. This is the final test of how loyal and devoted your subjects are. If you went down the order path, this is the point at which you start pulling a Stalin and execute anyone that looks at you funny. And if you went down the faith path, you begin to start doing some really kinky shit. Frostpunk gives you a couple of objectives to reach before the storm comes. This is funny as it implies that I try to reach them. Sorry, I will not be stockpiling food. I am on a cut until the weather stops roleplaying the warmest day in Canada. Struggle through all this, save humanity at the cost of your own, and what do you get? A time-lapse and a minute-long roasting session. I save humanity, and all I get is a speech about losing our humanity. No, it's right there, thanks to me, and all these choices that you are painting as bad. I honestly think the ending wasn't made by the same people that made the game, but let us go back to the beginning, to the lost autumn in humanity. Liverpool is a hellhole where dreams go to die. New Liverpool is the same, but at least we have housing. You have one job, using an ancient reservoir of pure brap to create a chamber perfect to satisfy even the most depraved YouTuber. Don't worry, after you finish your job, you can leave Liverpool. Preferably alive, but I doubt many would mind if it was in a body bag. It is hard-coded into the game that on-site burials raise discontent. Clearly, nobody wants to stay in Liverpool forever. The engineers become quite useless, so I just employ them as femboys. Some say that engineers are wasting their potential wearing thigh highs and getting Discord Nitro. I'd say they are right where they belong. After a silly little gas explosion, my workers demand reforms. I can either side with the engineers, now turned communal harem, or 99% of the population. This game teaches you important lessons, such as oppress minorities when it is beneficial for you to do so. Just like in real life, treating engineers as second-class objects for the workers' gaze has no drawbacks. My workers demand rights by telling me how dangerous their work is. I find this mechanic quite confusing, as it implies that there was a point in time within our universe where I gave a shit. Things go smoothly, workers are working, imports are coming, and the workplace is as safe as our profits allow. Spend as much money as possible to keep workplace safety high and you will lose the game. Have 20 able-bodied men die in a preventable fire every 2 minutes and you will simply replace your losses. You quickly learn that as long as you give out free McDonald's at Sunday Mass, workers dying is not that big of an issue. Food becomes a big issue in this game, however. Unlike last time where we simply sent out 5 men of dubious sanity into the cold and they came back with meat of unspecified origin, this time we manually have to set up hunting cabs. Wait, the spam call center known as my boss is calling me. He is telling me I wasn't just meant to set up an engineering harem and kill people for no reason, and was actually supposed to get ready for some sort of great freeze. As it turns out, the apocalypse is real and we will all die. Well, we will all die if I do not finish the vibrator in time, but that's basically the same thing. We will need to get down to business. Work shifts are longer, shipments are fewer, and we will sadly have to abolish the fanboy engineering department. Times are truly desperate. We have also set up an execution chamber, where we will let one unlucky person every day feel the struggle and absolute mental deterioration that goes through the head of a reaction YouTuber every day. Why is it a good idea to kill off men I desperately need? Simple, I was bored and the button is right there. We will also lose the ability to simply replace our losses. Does this mean that we will stop killing our workers? Of course not, we will simply just get rid of healthcare. Why have doctors when I don't plan on them surviving anyway? With the workforce sorted, we will have to deal with the temperature problem, and by that I mean I'll pretend these balls of hot sauce do anything for survival and ignore the issue. After many long days of desperate building and fighting for our lives, what do we get? Another roasting session with a time lapse. This game has a problem. Hey buddy, I see you played the game just like how we intended. Shame on you for being a horrible person. If you don't instantly shut down your PC the second you have to make a tough decision, you didn't play the game right and should consider isolating yourself from society to shield others from your incompetence. If you want to be eternally attached to these videos, I've started a Patreon where you can support my content. You'll be right here, symbolically next to my voice as I talk in this ending screen. There are many other scenarios in this game that I haven't played. This is because to enjoy keeping a couple of seeds warm, you need to be on the side of the spectrum I have yet to discover, and trust me, I've tried. It's rare to find a game with this much polish and little to no bugs. It's much more common to find out that games like this were made by Polish people, so I suppose that explains it. In other news, I haven't died. I will be uploading regularly, so subscribe to not miss any of that. I am actively fighting the urge to make Europa Universalis 4 video. It calls to me like a siren, promising me endless pleasure, only for me to give in and be game ruined by AI. We're at the part of the video where only the real ones stay. If you made it this far, leave a comment ending with a little kiss, so I know who's out here feeling flamboyant. With that, until my next inevitable upload, ciao!